I know that you've been very vocal about, your opinion on judging, and a few times I've seen interviews where you basically object to, you didn't understand why you weren't placing as high you were supposed to.
No, I don't. I don't object to how they place because I realize what's going on. It's just because there's no standard, they can just get away with whatever. They can just do whatever they want. That wouldn't in the NFL or NBA or Major League Baseball. If they tried to change the rules or the standards every week, then no one would follow it. So I'm a fan of the sport, and I know that one day I'm gonna be sitting in the audience, but I don't want to sit in the audience and watch bullshit. So I'm trying to, while I have a voice, I'm trying to maybe not make a difference, but at least, everybody else seems like they're afraid to say anything, but everyone else is thinking the same thing I am.
I hear you. I've seen an interview where you basically say that you want to start talking about these things while you're still competing, and you wanted to create a set of rules or regulations, and you want to present it to the league.
We don't really need rules per se. They just need standards. It just needs to be uniformity. You know what I mean? Like it's different every week. If you ask a pro bodybuilder or amateur bodybuilder what you're training for, be like, I'm training for the Arnold. Then I'm like, no, no, no. What are you trying to accomplish? Oh, I want to be shredded. Okay, well, what does that mean? I mean, you know what I'm saying? There's like, if you go to a dog show and they're judging Rottweilers, they have to have certain markings and certain things in order to be qualified to be in the show. In our sport, you just show up. There's no real requirements other than the pro card or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So like when we're on stage, when they say front double bicep, everyone does a different front double bicep, different time. How do you really judge that? I've been following the sport for 30 years, and sometimes I go to shows and I have no idea what's going on, and I should be an expert. I am an expert.
What would it take for it to change?
I'm not even talking about anything that formal. I'm talking about something simple like everyone hit a mandatory pose. What does mandatory mean? You know what I'm saying? Like, if it's a mandatory pose, why isn't it a mandatory pose? Why are people doing 5 different front double biceps and 5 different front lat spreads and 5 different most muscular? If it's mandatory, then it should be mandatory. And then at the night show, you can do whatever you want. You should have to hit the pose the same way at the same time so the judges can see your physique, not contort your body to hide your flaws. The whole point is you're trying to find the perfect specimen or something similar. And if you're good at hiding your flaws and contorting your body to make it look like you don't have any, then you do well. But when you stand normal or whatever, then your flaws are very obvious and blatant. So
I spoke to Shawn Ray recently, and he talked about the similar things that you're talking about, and he was trying to start a movement and a standard for certain rules and regulations, and he was definitely almost fighting with the league on some of these things, and I guess he told me that it never really panned out the way he wanted for it to go.
like I say, it would be so simple. Like I said, no one needs anything really crazy or, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you're a promoter, you should have standards. That means if you're going to promote an IFBB show, then you need to have it in a performing arts theater because it's a performing arts. The sound needs to be a certain way. The lighting needs to be a certain way. There needs to be lines and places on the stage where people stand. Right now, we got a little dot. Okay. You ever notice how everybody bumping elbows and all? That looks so stupid and unprofessional. You know what I'm saying?
So what motivates you to keep going?
Well, I'm a bodybuilder. Competing is not bodybuilding. That's an exhibition. So I bodybuild 24/7, 365. I don't take off season and blow up 70, 80 pounds over my contest weight. When you see me, every time you see me, you're going to see quality physique, whether it's 12 weeks out, 90 weeks out, or 3 days out. That's just how I do it. That's because that's how I learned how to do it. I learned it from Shawn and Flex and Kevin. And you never saw those guys looking like that, ever. Not Think about it. Go find a picture of Shawn Ray or Flex Wheeler or Chris Cormier or Lee Haney out of shape. You can't find one because they never let it happen. So I started bodybuilding in 1988. Vince Taylor won the nationals, and Vince still ain't been out of shape. Vince is 60 years old. He still ain't been out of shape yet. That's bodybuilding.
How do you feel about today's bodybuilders in general?
Back in the day, you could open up a Flex magazine or Muscle Mag or whatever, and as a 22-year-old, I used to look in the magazine, and I would literally trade bodies with anyone in the magazine. There's not one person in the sport I would trade bodies with right now. Not one.
Do you still think it's realistic for you to win Olympia?
Yeah, if they set a standard, I damn sure could. I can't win against people that don't want me to win. You know what I'm saying? Like, if they don't want me to win, then I can't win. But if there was a set standard that you had to uphold, then of course I could win. Sure, I could. Because then I would know exactly what to train for and exactly what to bring to the stage. Then it would be about that. It wouldn't be about who's the most popular, who's the sponsor, who didn't piss off the judges, who the judges like. It wouldn't be all about all that stuff. Because right now, that's what it is.
Today there's an emergence of YouTube fitness stars, guys like CC Fletcher, Rich Piana, and why do you think they gain more popularity than mainstream bodybuilders sometimes?
Because bodybuilding has no standard. So someone like a Rich Piana or CT Fletcher can get up there who has charisma and the ability to work the internet, and that's all it really takes. I mean, people have, you have so much stupid stuff now on the internet that gets 10 million views. It's just dumb as hell. So I don't really. I mean, I don't knock another man's hustle. So more power to him. But I wouldn't follow that crap. You know what I'm saying? That's not bodybuilding. That's Barnum and Bailey. That's freak show.
I want to change subject for a second. So, interesting fact that I want to talk to you about. In 2000, I believe 10, you were in Sweden and you were detained over there, and I guess it was called muscle profiling. And you were detained and you were being tested, and you were being for different substances, and you were being treated unfairly. And you spoke out about it, basically.
I was doing the autograph signing, and it was about 65 people in there. It was pretty crowded. I'm signing autographs and taking pictures. So these two cops come in. One stays at the door. One comes up and stands next to me. I was already shaking somebody's hand and taking a picture. So I told him, hold on a second. I let the person go. And then I reached my hand out to shake his hand because I thought he wanted to take a picture. And then he was like, Mr. Freeman, you need to come with us. And I'm like, where are we going? And he said, I'll tell you when we get outside. I'm like, okay. So I started looking around for like Ashton Kutcher. I thought I was being punked or something. I didn't, you know what I'm saying? Because I didn't do anything. So anyway, I got my stuff, and I got my jacket, and I left all my stuff there on the table. And they didn't arrest me or nothing like that. I said, am I under arrest? They was like, no, we just want to ask you some questions. I'm like, okay, cool. So I put on my jacket, I go outside, and all of a sudden you got, paparazzi and video cameras and stuff. And I was like, whatever. So I get in the car, and the police station was like 5 minutes away. We rode up to the police station. And I'm like, what is this all about? And he said, we believe that you use, what did he say? We believe that you use anabolic substances. I said, yeah, I use growth hormone and testosterone. I've been doing it for the last 10 years. At the time, I was 40 something. I've been doing it since, in my 30s or whatever. Had all my doctor's records and all that. And so he said, that's against the law in Sweden. I said, that's cool. I live in the United States. And he said, but you're in Sweden right now. I said, but my flight leaves in 3 hours. I'll be out here in 3 hours. So he was like, well, do you mind if we test you? I'm like, you ain't got to test me. I just told you what I take. You know what I'm saying? So, but I said, you know what? I got to pee anyway. Where's the cup? So I pissed in the cup, and then he said, well, it came back positive because I know it takes 3 weeks before you get the blood test back anyway. He said it tests positive for cannabis. I said, yeah, I just had a 5-hour layover in Amsterdam. I went to the coffee shop and I enjoyed myself. And he was like, I said, and he said, well, that's illegal in Sweden. I said, again, I live in America. I was in Amsterdam. I'm going home in 3 hours. And then so they started asking me a bunch of more questions, and his partner was looking at me like, sorry. And so I finally told the dude, I was like, well, what is this really all about? And he said that, well, we feel that these companies shouldn't hire you guys to come over here and do appearances or whatever because it makes the kids want to be like you. I said, what does that have to do with me? You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I'm not breaking any crimes in your country. So the man actually told me that if I went to outer space and did drugs and came back to Sweden, I would be under a suspect of doping. I was like, dude, I asked him, I said, how old are you? He said, 47. I said, you need to go get your testosterone checked because you acting like a bitch right now. And his partner just bust out laughing. I said, you got any more questions for me? He was like, no, you're free to go. I went back to the store. Everyone was still there. So I just finished signing my autographs, went to the airport, and then I flew back to Stockholm. And then so I had 4 more appearances at 4 more cities. My manager calls me at 3 o'clock in the morning, and he says, it's all over the internet that you got arrested in Sweden. And I'm like, I said, I'm a 300-pound black man. If I was arrested, they would have put handcuffs on me, read me my rights, and put me in a jail cell. So I went on and went home. I didn't even finish the tour because they told me that they had police and they were going to basically do it to me everywhere that I went until I got to Gothenburg, where they were waiting on Jay Cutler and Dennis James and Dennis Wolf and all the rest of those guys to show up, and they was going to do the same thing to them. So I got on the phone and called all them and told them not to come.
That's crazy. And that never happened again anywhere else.
I get treated with love and respect everywhere I go because I'm a loving and respectful individual.
How long do you plan to compete on professionally?
Bro, I'm about to be making so much money doing what I'm doing right now that I'm only competing to benefit my brand. I love the sport. I've actually corrected all my injuries and stuff like that over the years. I'm basically in the best shape of my life. I look better into myself than I ever have in my life. So this is probably gonna be my thriller right here.
Tune into Generation Iron Podcast with Kai Green every Wednesday.
Get a lot of people that are always like, oh, he's going to be better than his dad, or he'll never live up to his dad, stuff like that. And you're right. I don't want to. That's not my plan. I plan to be the best of me, but I'd like to bring old school back to new school bodybuilding. And I feel like if anyone's the best case for that, it is me.